enough.
Minus the mood lighting. we really need to get us in the mood. Hence the term mood lighting. Hey everyone, welcome.
Welcome.
I'm Amy.
I'm Whitney, and this is
On
the Haunt.
I wish they could see our stupid head bobs when we do that. It's so
Every single time.
How's it going?
How's it going? Great. It's going great. Well, it's going great because your birthday present finally came in. Happy birthday, almost a month later. My children helped me wrap this, so.
Oh, beautiful job.
Would you like to unwrap it on the air?
This is awkward.
It's so awkward. Just open.
That's a lot of tape.
We really want you to work for it.
Were the children also in charge of the taping?
Holden loves tape, so he's just like taping it to death, So Amy's birthday was like a month ago. This present was shipped from Canada. It's from Etsy. I didn't know it was coming from Canada. I should have paid closer attention.
Well, you still have to be Canada. It's just,
yeah. Well, you can look, I think.
It's just across the way.
Yeah, I mean, it took forever. I love it so much. I want one for myself.
With a ghost.
Yes.
Oh, there's more rapping. So they're like, oh my God, this sound.
Stop! It's a comfy crew neck.
I love it.
Isn't it cute?
It goes with a candle.
I know. I showed it to Rory and she was like, that's actually really scary.
I'll have to hide this from Keaton. She'll steal it from me.
Well, they're on there.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I love you. So there you go. Okay, everyone. Was that awkward?
That on our little trip in a couple of weeks.
Yes. Was that awkward for you? Sorry if it was.
awkward for me. So
it's awkward for us. Oh my God, look at your black paper.
Listen, shut it.
Amy has some printing.
I told you I was cutting and pasting all over the place.
I know, she has some printing that's like completely black with white writing. It's that one of those websites. You know how they go.
I was desperate for info.
Hey, I get it. I totally get it. Okay. I don't really know.
Okay. Well, I had a little audio I wanted to share with you today.
Oh, yes.
So the last couple weeks, I've been waking up like every other night at like 2 a.m. to the sound. And I'm like, and it is not just like some...
Okay.
So this morning I'm like, I'm getting out of bed and recording this because, my husband is only home on weekends. And so I'm alone. I'm like, I'm recording this and sending it to him because something's amiss in our house. Oh my gosh. So here's what I wake up to at 2 a.m. Hang
on. What?
Yeah.
How'd you record that? You leave it on all night or something?
No, I went in my bathroom.
Because you heard it.
I could hear it, coming from like in there.
Is it something outside your house?
I think what is our water softener, again, for those of you who don't live in the country, we must soften our water because it gets real hard.
Whatever that means.
Well, it gets like that scummy, crusty stuff.
We have one
It's
too.
legit
so
hard.
Gross.
It cycles at 2 a.m. since someone's using it. And so I'm hoping it's just the water softener. And not something with the well. But I would think if it was with the well, like when we ran water,
Yeah.
So yeah, I have been, and
That's
isn't
freaky.
even, you can't even really tell on that audio how loud it truly is. Like my house shakes.
Oh my gosh.
It is crazy.
Maybe you need to put some salt blocks in there.
Yeah, so I mean, for the first few nights, I was just like, well, we got a demon, and
here comes that Grim Reaper off the
kids
road.
Are completely on the other side of the house, so they're on their own.
Oh my God, Amy.
But then, finally this morning, I'm like, I've got to get up and figure this out because we might be going into a sinkhole. I don't know what's happening. That is one of my fears.
Well, thanks for sharing that. It's really freaky.
So not a demon, but at 2 a.m,
it might as well be.
And to talk myself into getting out of bed and going to investigate took everything I had. So, anyways,
speaking
wish
of
me luck.
Audio, we apologize for the last 2 episodes.
Listen,
we've been properly chastised by executive producer Chris. Not really.
Chris so immediately was like, did you have like the fan on high?
Literally, he said, yeah, so we just got a text in our On the Haunt group chat that says, remember, there's no concerns with the fan being on a lower setting. The recording issues occur when you have it on jet engine speed, which we did. So we won't do that again.
Our defense.
Yes.
My breast cancer meds caused me to have really intense hot flashes. And last week when we recorded, they were
off the chain.
Really just horrific. And we did 2 episodes, so sorry you had to hear that
Yes.
whoop, 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 the last 2, but whatever. Do you expect anything else from us?
Yes, it's who we are. We're dumb. We don't know what we're doing. But Chris does, and so it reflects badly on him.
I have to take even more of the blame on this because when I listened to the first episode, you even said, "Do you think that fan's making noise?" I'm like, "No, it's fine,
Totally fine."
Because I'm like, "Please don't turn it off, I'll die."
I'll literally die as our hair's blowing around.
Yes, but you were like, "Your hair's in your mouth." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, it's blowing into my mouth."
Oh my god, we're so dumb.
But, so sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a couple recommendations. If you haven't watched The Squid Game, which Amy hasn't, and I cannot believe, because it has nothing to do with, it's not paranormal or true crime or anything like that, but it is so good. You have to watch it.
Keaton keeps recommending it. I mean, every time she recommends something, I'm like,
Well, I'm recommending it too, so give it a shot. It's really great.
She told me to watch Euphoria, and I got through one episode of that, and I'm like,
I don't know what that is.
It's...
No. Do you know the premise of Squid Game? We'll talk about it offline.
Okay.
We'll talk about it offline.
Everyone's like, shut up.
Shut up. We all know. They're like, why are you recommending this? Everyone in America has watched this.
It's been number 1 on Netflix for the last month.
We both did watch today the Brittany Murphy documentary. So check that out. It's so good and sad and just...
It is.
Brittany Murphy, rest in peace.
Yes.
Okay, well.
All right.
So we just shut talking?
Because we've got 3 things to record tonight.
Just stop talking and put everyone through.
All right. Let me get out my bifocals. Yeah.
Bifocals on. Thank you, Benjamin Franklin.
I figured out how to really work them. So that's good.
Okay.
I figured it all out.
All right.
All right. So tonight I'm going to be talking about Edgar Allan Poe. I have an unhealthy obsession with him. I have most of my life. And I just really wanted to cover him. There's not a whole lot of paranormal stuff about him, but he's creepy, super interesting
and creepy,
and there is some paranormal. I found some hauntings, so it's okay.
Oh, where he's like showing up.
Ooh. Yes. So we're gonna start with his death.
Okay,
going in reverse.
Yeah.
I will talk about his life some, but I want to start with his death because no one really knows how he died.
Ooh.
There's so many conflicting theories.
Interesting.
And just stories and but no one actually knows. And then I got to even thinking though, how did anyone know how anyone really died back in the 1800s? But still, you would have had like some sort of idea for it to not.
There would have been. Did they do autopsies? No, maybe not.
Because that was back. Remember, they used to have to doctors would have to pay what were they called? Grave robbers to go dig up bodies so they would have to practice. So
I guess unless it was obvious, they maybe didn't know. He probably had a heart attack.
But he was...
The telltale heart,
Yeah. With that one eye that kept looking
at me.
What a story. I always remember that from that story. The one eye. I'm like, oh God, I'd probably kill him too. All right.
Oh, Mandy and... Off topic. Mandy and I went to, what was it called? Like a Oddities and Curiosity Expo in St. Louis. And there was like a painter there. And he had painted this magnificent portrait of Edgar Allan Poe. Oh my God. We both wanted it so bad. It was $500.
That's too much.
I mean, I don't pay for art.
No.
We're not those people.
I'll order just a poster on Etsy.
Right. And framed.
I do actually have a poster with him on it hanging up at work. I bought it at, what's the place called? The Hannibal Historical Place where we went on the ghost tour.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a promotional poster for the Haunted Hannibal tours.
Nice.
I'm not really sure why Edgar Allan Poe is on it.
They're like, who's this guy? He's creepy.
But it had when it rains at Poe, or no, I'm just a Poe boy. Nobody loves me or something it says. But I'm like, whatever.
Okay, we'll go with it.
I just wanted to be like, hey, I went on this ghost tour. So I hung it up at work. But anyways, okay, I'm going to just jump right in. So we're going to talk a little bit about how he was found.
Okay.
And this is a first-hand account from the person who found him. So it says, and this is from Smithsonian Mag. So
whoa, legit.
I'm very scholarly. It's a good thing I'm wearing bifocals.
She probably had to pay for this article.
I did not.
I always feel bad when it's like, please, you have one more left. Can you please give us $5?
I'll tell you what, there's like this, on Yahoo News, there's this like business advice thing.
Yeah.
Column kind of thing. But then you're only allowed to read so many of them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, you've reached your limit. And I'm like, dang it. I really want to know what advice they're giving this woman whose mother-in-law is not giving her part of her inheritance. How did you handle this?
I need more business advice.
For me.
What?
It's just because there's always people like writing in. It's like a Dear Abby, but it's for financial advice. So they're always like, please tell us, dear Mr. Moneypincher or whatever his name is, what do we do? But then there's a comment section, which is always,
comedy gold.
100%. All right, so here we go. It was raining in Baltimore on October 3rd, 1849, but that didn't stop Joseph W. Walker, a compositor for the Baltimore Sun. I'm assuming a writer. Quit being fancy.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm thinking, I only know that because of a composite notebook.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I mean,
from heading out to Gunners Hall, a public house bustling with activity. Oh. It was election day, and Gunners Hall served as a pop-up polling location for the 4th Ward polls. When Walker arrived at Gunners Hall, he found a man delirious and dressed in shabby second-hand clothes lying in the gutter. The man was semi-conscious and unable to move, but as Walker approached him, he discovered something unexpected. The man was Edgar Allan Poe. Worried about the health
So wait, was he famous when he was alive?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. He was one of the first... I know so much about him, it's embarrassing.
No.
First writers during those times to actually make a living as a writer, because there was something, I'd read something when I was researching his life about there were like copyright laws from Britain that really prevented people in America from, I don't know, I didn't really understand it, so...
I just knew that back then it seemed like a lot of people became famous for their art after they died, which is really sad.
He was one of the very few people who was able to, like, support himself off of the money he made from writing. The man was semi-conscious and unable to move, but... I already read that. Worried about the health of the adult poet, Walker stopped and asked Poe if he had any acquaintances in Baltimore that might be able to help him. Poe gave Walker the name of Joseph E. Snodgrass. What a name!
Best name of all time.
Yeah. A magazine editor with some medical training.
That doesn't make you a doctor.
No. He's like, I write the medical advice column, therefore.
Snodgrass is basically me. Yes. We're both doctors.
Yes. So immediately, Walker penned Snodgrass a letter asking for help. It read, Baltimore City, October 3rd, 1849. Dear sir, there's a gentleman, rather worse for the wear.
Well, he's going to be dead by the time they receive this letter.
Like a telegram? What is happening?
4 months later.
Yes. At Ryan's 4th Ward polls. Well, the election's for sure going to be over by then, right? Or do their elections last long?
I mean, I don't know, but is it like is it just a poll or is it also like a bar?
No, it said it was a public house.
Oh, okay. Whatever that means.
That was serving as a poll.
What's like a public house?
I'm assuming like a bar.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's where you go to cast your vote, the local tavern.
I mean, heck yeah. At Ryan's 4th Ward polls, who goes under the cognomen of Edgar A. Poe, and who appears in great distress, and he says he is acquainted with you. He is in need of immediate assistance. Yours in haste, Joseph W. Walker.
He really, he's the composter or whatever.
Positioner.
You can tell.
I don't know.
That letter is written beautifully.
That's beautiful.
Yours in haste. That's how I'm going to sign all my emails now.
That was a proper busince letter, Joseph. Good job.
Yours in haste. Please get here immediately when you receive this a month later.
He's got back. I don't want to take care of him.
Did he give this to a kid on a bicycle or something?
I don't know how things worked back then.
I'm just imagining he's like, take this to
Pony Express.
Take this to Snodgrass. No, he is Snodgrass.
Yeah. No, he's writing it to Snodgrass.
Oh, take this to Snodgrass immediately.
Yes. Thank you, sir, for the shilling. I don't know. Oh, this was in Baltimore.
Thank you for the penny.
So anyways, before I sound even dumber, on September 27th, almost a week earlier, Poe had left Richmond, Virginia, bound for Philadelphia to edit a collection of poems for Mrs. St. Leon Loud, a minor figure in American poetry at the time. So he was
an
also
editor,
doing some
too.
editing. He's
Interesting.
a jack of all trades. When Walker found Poe in delirious disarray outside the polling place, it was the first anyone had heard or seen of the poet since his departure from Richmond.
Huh.
Poe never made it to Philadelphia to attend his editing business, nor did he ever make it back to New York, where he had been living, to escort his aunt back to Richmond for his impending wedding.
Edgar Allan Poe's getting married? Mm-hmm. Okay. And did he die before? Oh, God. Okay.
So Poe was never to leave Baltimore, where he launched his career in the early 19th century again. And in the 4 days between Walker finding Poe outside the public house and Poe's death on October 7th, he never regained enough consciousness to explain how he had come to be found. In soiled clothes that were not his own, incoherent, and on the streets.
What?
Instead, Poe spent his final days wavering between fits of delirium, gripped by visual hallucinations. The night before his death, according to his attending physician, Dr. John J. Moran, I guess not moron, I'd be like, I don't want him as my doctor.
Dr. Moron.
Dr. Moran, is there any hope for me? Again, not British stuff.
No. It just feels right.
So the night before his death, he repeatedly called out for Reynolds, a figure who to this day remains a mystery. Like Ryan Reynolds?
Yes, please. I'll call out for him, too.
So, Poe's death, shrouded by mystery, seems ripped directly from the pages of one of his own works. Okay, so that's just some kind of like being, all Smithsonian Maggie. So now let's go to some of the theories of what had happened to him that got him in that situation. Theory number 1, a beating.
Oh.
That sounds
beat.
Terrible. Please don't beat me.
With what?
With anything, preferably.
Sure. Not a spinal cord?
No, for sure no. In 1867, one of the first theories to deviate from either phrenitis or alcohol was published by biographer E. Oak Smith in her article, Autobiographic Notes, Edgar Allan Poe. At the instigation of a woman, Smith writes, who considered herself injured by him, he was cruelly beaten, blow upon blow, by a ruffian who knew of no better mode of avenging supposed injuries. It is well known that a brain fever followed.
So he was beating on a chick and someone came and beat him up? Is that...
Yeah, basically. Okay. Some lady's like, hey, this guy's roughing me up. And some guy's like, not on my watch. And then he'd...
Street vigilante.
Yes, basically.
Okay. Wow.
Other accounts also mention ruffians who had beaten Poe senseless before his death.
We should really bring back ruffians.
We should. But not around
ruffians.
Me. I don't want to hear ruffians.
No, just the term, not the people. That Chris, he's a real ruffian.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around ruffians.
Okay.
No.
And you're not a ruffian, Chris.
No.
We want to be around
Slightly a ruffian.
So, as Eugene Didier wrote in his 1872 article, The Grave of Poe, that while in Baltimore, Poe ran into some friends from West Point who prevailed upon him to join them for drinks. Poe, unable to handle liquor, became madly drunk after a single glass of champagne, after which he left his friends to wander the streets. In his drunken state, he was robbed and beaten by ruffians and left insensible in the street all night.
Poe, you really need to work on your your tolerance.
Well, that was one thing too, though. I know so much about him. It's terrible. He was a severe alcoholic, but a lot of it was because he had almost like a medical disorder or something that gave him no tolerance for alcohol.
Oh.
He would have a drink and become instantly drunk, which is why it was never a good idea for him to drink, because he just, it was inevitable he would be an alcoholic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The second theory is cooping.
Oh, so whatever that means.
I will tell you.
Okay.
Others believe that Poe fell victim to a practice known as cooping, a method of voter fraud practiced by gangs in the 19th century.
Whoa!
What kind of gang?
It's a right-wing gang.
Gangsta, come here.
That's still a thing here in America
today.
Give
me all your voter registration cards.
Did they do mail-in voting? Probably not.
Well, that would have been a better...
Yeah.
Then this wouldn't have happened.
Were they just sitting outside the polling place?
Well, this is what they did.
Oh, God.
They would grab an unsuspecting victim, kidnap them, disguise them, and force them to vote for a specific candidate multiple times under multiple disguised identities. I'd be
smart.
Like, but you'd be like, Edgar, I know that's you. You still have that mustache.
You're famous.
You're dressed as a woman, and you've got like that.
My name's not Edgar. it's Eloise. Oh. I went to Eloise.
And I went to Edna, whatever.
Edna
we
makes
both went
more
to
sense.
East. All right. So voter fraud was extremely common in Baltimore around the mid-1800s, and the polling site where Walker found the disheveled Poe was a known place that Coopers brought their victims. The fact that Poe was found delirious on Election Day then would be no coincidence. Over the years, the cooping theory has come to be one of the more widely accepted explanations for Poe's strange demeanor before his death. Before Prohibition, voters were given alcohol after voting as a sort of reward.
Way to do your civic duty. Here's a pass.
And then after Prohibition, that just didn't come back.
They're like, never mind.
That was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Look at Poe. Poe Exhibit A. We are not...
Let's not encourage
Now you
alcoholism.
can have this pin that says, I voted, or your sticker. That's what they did.
Didn't have stickers
when the stickers
then.
came around afterwards. And when the Prohibition was over, they're like, we're not going to bring back the
like,
beer,
who
but we'll
the
give you a sticker.
I don't want this freaking sticker.
So they were given alcohol as a sort of reward. Had Poe been forced to vote multiple times in a cooping scheme, this might explain his semi-conscious ragged state.
That's so interesting.
He binge drank the voting juice.
Yeah, but
Great.
like, why would he be semi-conscious and ragged? Because they beat him up and like were kind of rough with him, I guess. They were ruffians with him.
Well, I just think that was more alcohol than he would have been used to consuming.
Oh, I see.
Even though he was an alcoholic, but again, he never like built up a tolerance for alcohol.
Me neither, Poe.
Yeah. So a letter from William Hand Brown. Middle name is Hand.
Why?
You heard me right.
Like, why?
A member of the faculty
Who gave
at
him
Johns Hopkins
Oh.
explains that the general belief here is that Poe was seized by one of these gangs, his death happening just at election time. An election for sheriff took place on October 4th. We really want
Wow,
that
sheriff. It's not even like president.
Cooped, stupefied with liquor, dragged out and voted, then turned adrift to die.
That's so sad.
So think like probably like alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
And just left like laying in a gutter. So.
And it's just so sad to think about, like, those people doing that for what end? Like, oh, wow, you got your...
I got my sheriff.
But, like, what other amazing short stories could Edgar Allan Poe have written that we missed out on?
What a lame gang you're in.
Super lame. We're really into democracy.
Yeah.
But not really.
No. We're all about...
Tilting the...
deceiving the actual system and deceptive practices, but...
And why for the sheriff? Maybe they were getting someone, like, you know, bad in. Someone,
wonder if they all wore matching hats.
Why? What?
Nothing.
Oh.
I'm not going to get political.
Oh, got it.
All right, moving on.
Yep.
Third one. Alcohol.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't, everyone knows he was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
That's no secret. So a lot of the ideas that have come up over the years have centered around the fact that Poe couldn't handle alcohol. It's been documented that after a glass of wine, he was staggering drunk. His sister had the same problem. It seemed to be something hereditary. Months before his death, Poe became a vocal member of the temperance movement, eschewing alcohol, which he'd struggled with all his life. Biographer Susan Archer Talley Weiss, that's a lot of names,
Wow.
recalls in her biography The Last Days of Edgar A. Poe, an event toward the end of Poe's time in Richmond that might be relevant to theorists that prefer a death by drinking demise for Poe. Poe had fallen ill in Richmond, and after making a somewhat miraculous recovery, was told by his attending physician that another such attack would prove fatal. If people would not tempt him, he would not fail, suggesting that the first illness was brought on by a bout of drinking. So those around him during his final days seemed convinced that the author did indeed fall into that temptation, drinking himself to death. As his close friend J.P. Kennedy wrote on October 10th, 1849, on Tuesday last Edgar A. Poe died in town, here at the hospital, from the effects of debauch. Yeah. Well, it's debauch and then an ellipsis. I don't know. We're supposed to write our own ending there?
Or it's like alluding to something.
He fell in love with some companion here who seduced him to the bottle, which it was said he had renounced some time ago. The consequence was fever, delirium, and madness.
Oh, God.
And in a few days, a termination of his sad career in the hospital. Poor Poe, a bright but unsteady light, has been awfully quenched. Oh, well, that was sweet, JP. Could you have left out, like, the debauch?
Yeah. It's rude.
For sure. And it sounds like you're just trying to shorten words to sound cool.
Yeah, no. Yeah, like suspicious.
Yes. Stop. Though the theory that Poe's drinking led to his death fails to explain his 5-day disappearance. Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Or his secondhand clothes. Yeah, where'd those come from? They weren't his clothes is what that's it. They don't mean secondhand like, oh God, he fallen on hard times, he had to go to the Goodwill. They mean like someone else's clothes.
Were on his body.
Yes. It was nevertheless a popular theory propagated by Snodgrass after Poe's death. Oh, shut it, Snodgrass.
Oh, Snodgrass.
So another theory, there's so many theories,
there are.
Is carbon monoxide poisoning.
Okay. Seemed very, like that would have been very common then.
Yes. In 1999, so this is someone obviously just giving their thoughts.
Yes, obviously.
not one of Poe's friends. Public health researcher Albert Donne argued that Poe's death was a result of carbon monoxide poisoning from coal gas that was used for indoor lighting during the 19th century.
Yeah?
He took clippings of Poe's hair. Oh,
what?
You could do
from
that
where?
in 1999?
From where?
Well, he's buried. I feel like he got buried and then he had to get moved because they like totally poltergeisted the place and built something on top of it.
On top of
Poe?
Poe?
The body. Well, they moved the bodies.
Oh, first.
Yeah. So unlike a poltergeist, they actually moved
I'm like,
the bodies. But
who
still,
the heck built something on top of
you just go
Poe?
buy another piece of real estate?
Well, I guess some places it's limited.
Yeah.
But also, I'm still confused how he got the hair. Did they exhume him?
I don't know. They had to have, right?
Or maybe somewhere they just have some
just
stuff.
Like, I have this Ziploc bag full of Poe's hair. If you ever need it, just holla.
Weird. Okay. Well, either way.
So he tested his hair for heavy metals, and that would be able to reveal the presence of coal gas. The test was inconclusive, leading biographers and historians to largely discredit that theory.
Well.
5. Heavy metal poisoning.
Okay.
So his test didn't reveal levels of heavy metal consistent with carbon monoxide poisoning. They did reveal elevated levels of mercury in Poe's system months before his death.
Weird.
I think it's so crazy you can get that stuff from hair, too.
I mean, it's insane. It really is.
According to some...
But only from the root, right? Just from the Brittany Murphy documentary.
Well, no, it's saying it wouldn't just be in the root. They're saying it stays in your hair until your hair gets cut off.
Yeah.
So that's showing, like... It wasn't in her, like when they did that sample on her, it wasn't actually, there was nothing in her system at the time of her death because this was so far down the hair shaft. Like,
well, see, I understood it to mean like that that stuff was in her hair from products.
Yeah, and it was.
Yeah.
That's what they determined.
Because if it's in your bloodstream, it would be from your root.
Yeah, but I just know like they can do drug tests and stuff on people.
On people's hair.
Yeah, with your hair. And that's why... The longer your hair, the longer they can trace. Oh. Because it stays.
Weird.
I might be totally wrong. I don't know. I'm saying it with such conviction.
You really are. I believe you. I mean, I don't know.
So, anyways, yeah, he had the I don't know. Mercury.
No, what? That's interesting too. I wonder where would you get that?
Well, it says they were most likely elevated as a result of a cholera epidemic he'd been exposed to. Didn't know that impacted your mercury levels.
No.
I thought mercury
was from a
like
thermometer.
Yes. Like, how is that?
How else?
What is I mean, I know what cholera is, but I guess I
don't know what cholera. I mean, I know it's an illness.
Yes. Love in the time of cholera.
Right.
So, Poe's doctor prescribed calomel or mercury chloride. Ah, that's why cholera didn't give you mercury.
It's from a medicine.
I just kept reading.
Well, but, I mean, why would they do that? I guess they didn't know yet maybe that was bad?
I don't know.
Yikes.
And so he said that could help explain some of his hallucinations and delirium before death. However, the levels found in his hair, even at their highest, are still 30 times below the level consistent with mercury poisoning.
Well, then...
Theory number 6.
That doesn't make sense.
Rabies.
Oh, Jesus.
So in 1996, Dr. R. Michael Benitez was participating in a clinical pathologic conference where doctors are given patients along with a list of symptoms and instructed to diagnose and compare with other doctors as well as the written record. The symptoms of the anonymous patient EP, a writer from Richmond, were clear. EP had succumbed to rabies. According to EP's supervising physician, Dr. J.J. Moran, EP had been admitted to a hospital due to lethargy and confusion. Once admitted, EP's condition began a rapid downward spiral. Shortly, the patient was exhibiting delirium, visual hallucinations, wide variations in pulse rate, and rapid shallow breathing. Within 4 days, the median length of survival after the onset of serious rabies symptoms, EP was dead. So, anyways, this guy at the
I just imagine that there's like tons of stray dogs running about.
Oh, yeah.
Where they lived. Just
or
biting
rats.
you. Oh,
like,
God.
so many rats.
Ew. Crawling on you in bed.
Yes, gross. So that was one. I'm not even going to read the rest of that. Another theory was brain tumor.
Oh, well.
Which, I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
One of the most recent theories suggests that the author succumbed to a brain tumor which influenced his behavior before his death. When Poe died, he was buried, rather unceremoniously, in an unmarked grave.
What?
He was famous.
Right.
In a Baltimore graveyard. 26 years later, a statue was erected honoring Poe near the graveyard's entrance.
Not even on his gravesite.
Poe's coffin was dug up and his remains exhumed in order to be moved to the new place of honor. But more than 2 decades of buried decay had not been kind to Poe's coffin. Oh, so this was not that long ago that they dug this up. No.
Gross.
No, 2 decades, not 2 centuries.
Yeah,
Never mind.
no.
Walk it back.
But 2 decades,
yeah. Or it hadn't been kind to Poe's coffin or the corpse within it. And the apparatus fell apart as workers tried to move it from one part of the graveyard to another.
No.
Little remained of Poe's body.
Oh, what?
One
Were
worker
there bones?
did remark on a strange feature of Poe's skull. If they say a mustache, I'll die.
There was still a mustache above his lip. Lip hole.
A mass rolling around inside. What?
No, it would dissolve or disintegrate just like all the other organic
Tumors
tissue.
aren't made out of
bone. No.
Yeah. Newspapers of the day claimed that the clump was Poe's brain, shriveled yet intact after almost 3 decades in the grave. Come on. Stop sensationalizing things just to sell papers.
If that's his brain, I'm impressed.
We know today that the mass could not be Poe's brain, which is one of the first parts of the body to rot after death.
Makes sense.
But Matthew Pearl, an American author who wrote a novel about Poe's death, was nonetheless intrigued by the clump. He contacted a forensic pathologist who told him that while the clump couldn't be a brain, it could be a brain tumor, which can calcify after death in hard masses. Didn't know that.
Me neither.
Number 8.
That's kind of...
The flu.
Well, that seems very likely, doesn't it?
A far less sinister theory suggests, that he succumbed to the flu.
Seems highly likely.
I'm not even going to read. We all know what the flu is. I'm not going to say or read. And then finally, murder.
Oh, my favorite theory.
So in his 2000 book, Midnight Dreary, the mysterious
His what?
Death, Midnight Dreary.
No, his 2000th book?
No, in his 2000 book. He wrote it in the year 2000.
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying in Poe's 2000.
No,
I'm like, he wrote 2,000
this
books.
Guy wrote a book.
I am now
2000.
with you along for the ride.
Okay. And it was called Midnight Dreary, the mysterious death of Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay.
Author John Evangelist Walsh. His name is John Walsh.
That's wonderful.
I would throw the evangelist in there too.
But
so
evangelist
is
the weirdest middle name.
It really is.
Praise Jesus. Evangelizing for Edgar Allan Poe. It's really weird.
Get the snakes. We're going to sing and dance. Sorry, that was not.
You ever watch
cool.
Alabama Snake?
Yes.
I have not watched it, but anyway.
Yes, I have.
I don't like snakes, but it looks fascinating.
He thinks Poe was murdered by the brothers of his wealthy fiancée, Elmira Shelton. Using evidence from newspapers, letters, and memoirs, Walsh argues that Poe actually made it to Philadelphia, where he was ambushed by Shelton's 3 brothers, who warned Poe against marrying their sister. Frightened by the experience, Poe disguised himself in new clothes, accounting for in Walsh's mind his secondhand clothing, and hid in Philadelphia for nearly a week before heading back to Richmond to marry Shelton. Shelton's brothers intercepted Poe in Baltimore. Walsh postulates beat him and forced him to drink whiskey, which they knew would send Poe into a deathly sickness. His theory has gained little traction among Poe historians or book reviewers. Okay, so you're wrong, John Evangeline Lilly.
Walsh.
Walsh.
Evangeline Lilly is an actress.
Oh, and then I turned and this popped up.
Yes.
I print the ads too.
Britney Spears announces she's writing a murder novel. I would read the crap out of that.
Which I did see on Instagram. She's like, I'm thinking about writing a book. And I thought it was going to be a memoir. So I was all excited.
Well,
and
she's shading Jamie Lynn, you know.
So obviously I printed off the article. I clicked on it and printed it. So
she's shading Jamie Lynn, though.
Time out.
Okay, let's get to it. Britney corner. Britney minute.
Spears has been on an indefinite work hiatus since 2019.
It's heartbreaking.
Yes, and throughout her highly publicized conservatorship battle. Last year, she told Los Angeles, well, we know what she told all them, blah, 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 blah. So, it seems the Princess of Pop is already working on a new creative project. And no, it's not an album. Mm-mm. On October 9th, Spears announced via Instagram she's in the process of writing a novel. More like this, but never mind. That was just a click on stuff. Alongside a photo of a hand emerging from a body of water and holding a pen, Spears wrote the caption. I guess I didn't read the caption.
The caption's great.
I'm writing a book about a girl who was murdered, yet her ghost gets stuck in limbo because of trauma and pain, and she doesn't know how to cross over to the world she used to know.
It's almost like her life story.
Yes. She continued, after being stuck in limbo for 3 years, she is a ghost who thrives off of her reflection in the mirror for existence. She has no one she can trust, but something happens, and she figures out how to cross over to the world where her family is.
Why would you want to?
Yeah. Coming out of the limbo, she has a decision to make. Greet the same people who murdered her or create a new life. She found a portal by citing certain prayers constantly that give her the insight and gift to not be scared anymore and come out of limbo. But what I will leave to my imagination is what she does when she crosses over, besides learning to write her name again.
What? This is, you know, it parallels.
Yes.
With her life. It's so interesting. Did you see Jamie Lynn was going to try to use one of Britney Spears' lyrics for the title of her memoir? Get out of here with that crap.
Her, so.
Well, and then I saw another thing, sorry, and then I'll stop talking about this, that Britney's money went to finance this memoir because Jamie Lynn had a ghostwriter write it.
Oh, of course she did.
And then she's taking all the profits.
She ain't writing no books.
No. Get out of here, Spears family. I am gonna scream.
Lose it.
So frustrating. Thank you for listening to Britney Spears Corner.
Oh, now I'm at Bustle.
Okay,
so
yes.
that Britney Spears article came from Bustle. My bad.
Of course it did.
So now let's talk about some interesting facts about Edgar. Shall
Okay,
we?
yes.
Sorry, I will get to some paranormal. I promise.
It's really
I just
fine.
am like so fangirling.
You're just like, show me your boobs and Edgar Allan Poe. Sorry, that's what I think of when I think fangirling.
Show me how you grew me a stash.
It is a fascinating mustache.
So originally, he didn't even have a middle name. Or if he did, there was no record of it. Shortly before his third birthday, this says his parents died, but I don't think that's true. His dad ran off when he was an infant, and then right before his third birthday, his mom died of the TB.
Oh, geez.
I know that.
So who raised him?
So he went into foster care, and a family took him in. Oh, God,
foster care in the 1800s?
And they christened him. They were actually really good to him,
okay.
But they never adopted him.
What's up with that? Maybe it costs a lot of money.
So they christened him Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay.
Because I think...
Well, that was life-changing for him.
That's not in here, but I do
Edgar
believe...
Poe,
I do believe that the foster dad's name was Allan.
Oh, okay.
I know way too much information. None of this came from this. I just know
in her
these
brain.
Things. The name Poe instantly conjures up images of madmen entombing victims inside walls and ravens perching above chamber doors, and Edgar has a nice gothic ring to it. Yet, in letters penned to the women he loved, he often referred to himself as Eddie with a Y.
Oh, no. No.
So that's an interesting
fact.
No, that's
so bad. Why with a Y? No.
And then it says, one might assume that an author famous for his tales of macabre would have spent his teen years as an angsty goth boy.
In the 1800s, everyone is angsty and goth.
They don't even have to try.
They don't have colors.
No.
Everything is gray.
Or happiness.
No, it's just sad.
They're all dying of the TB and the cooping.
There's just mud everywhere.
There's just gangs making you dress up and drink. And
all these wagons driving by, splashing water on everyone. I imagine.
It's just
terrible. Oh, gosh.
So it says, while this is true to some extent, he was known to compete in running, boxing, and long jump events.
What?
When he was 15, he achieved local fame by swimming 6 miles up the Virginia's James River.
Wow.
Go Poe.
Track and field.
Another interesting fact is he was engaged to his teenage girlfriend twice.
Okay.
So when he was 27, he married his much younger cousin, Virginia.
Wah, wah.
But Virginia was not his first fiance. And it doesn't even tell you in here, but Virginia was 13 when he married her.
Ugh.
And it was his...
How old was he?
Like it was teenager? His first cousin, by the way. He was 27. She was 13.
That's
so
too close.
Even back then, that was pretty scandalous. One, because of the age difference. Two, because they were first cousins.
Yeah, I mean, that's nasty.
So way back when he was a teen, he was engaged to Sarah Elmira Royster, who we were just talking about her brothers a while ago, who accepted his marriage proposal when he was 17 and she was 15. They never married, but they reunited and became engaged again in 1849, right before his death.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, that's kind of sweet.
Another
what happened to his cousin bride?
The TB.
Oh, shoot. Did they have kids?
No.
No.
And he was just, like, devastated by her death. Like,
well, it's his wife and cousin. It's like double. Double relative.
Like he'd watched his mom die of TB, like right around the time he was 3. So he did have some memories of that. So he just knew, like he knew she was going to die. Another surprising fact about him is Poe is a beautiful boy.
What?
Look at this.
What? Oh, he's a little baby. He's baby man.
Little sideburns. And no moustache.
I'm listening to the pork chop episode where you can't think of mutton chops.
Well, that's hard.
It is. That he looked like he kind of had mutton chops.
Yeah. So it says, despite the iconic photographs of the morose-looking Poe with bags beneath his eyes.
Oh, gosh. Hey, rude.
Chill out. I have perpetual bags beneath my eyes. Shut it. That's what filters are for nowadays. He was in the 1800s.
He just rubbed mud on his face.
That's right. People who knew him described him as handsome.
Oh.
Admirers especially noted his striking eyes, which are said to have been gray, blue, hazel, or even violet.
All the colors.
All the colors.
Except green.
Sarah Elmira Royster called him a beautiful boy. One of his college friends, Miles George, described him as most attractive.
Miles?
Hey, Miles.
We see you, girl.
Yeah. Proclaim your love. I can't talk. Another interesting fact, the mustache didn't appear until later in life.
Huh.
He didn't actually start wearing that mustache until 1845, 4 years before his death.
That's interesting because that's
it's
symbolic.
This is him.
Yes, that's what we think of.
With his tousled hair.
Yes.
Something else about him that a lot of people think was true about him but wasn't is that he was not an opium addict.
Okay.
It says many of Poe's protagonists used opium, but the myth that Poe himself was a drug addict probably originated in 1845 when a reviewer compared his work to the strange outpourings of an opium eater. Rude!
And what's an opium eater? You eat opium?
I'm assuming like an addict.
Oh.
Back in those days, I mean, it's not like they were injecting themselves with syringes. You just like ingested stuff.
Gross. I don't understand what opium really is.
Yeah. But anyways, it was like...
Yeah, that's rude.
2 physicians who knew him stated they never saw any indications of him using the drug.
Thank you.
And one of those 2 men was Dr. Thomas Dunn English, who hated Poe.
So, if that weren't true, he wouldn't have said it. Because he hated him.
Oh, I didn't read this one. I didn't know this one. His teenage crush on his friend's mom led to one of his greatest love poems.
Whoa. Wonder if they had a Stacy's mom kind of
girl.
What is that? Is that Mary Poppins?
It's just like a drawing.
It's like sexy Mary Poppins.
She's like propped up on the beach.
Is that the
she's
mom?
Got all the way up to her neck and all the way down to her feet. Her body is completely covered in hair clothing. But hey,
he had a Stacy's mom kind of situation.
This says, as a young teen, Poe frequently fell in love with the Richmond girls, yet none of those crushes compared to his infatuation with Mrs. Jane Stannard, the mother of one of his school friends. Mrs. Stannard died when Poe was 15, and by all accounts, her death affected him deeply.
Oh.
He stated he wrote his poem to Helen for Mrs. Stannard, whom he called the first purely ideal love of my soul.
Wow.
So they're the things we...
Wow.
Fun facts about Poe.
Love that.
Not really fun, but...
Facts.
So, anywho, this place is is like a Poe museum.
It looks so cute.
And then these two articles kind of contradict each other.
That happens a lot in our research.
It really does. This is from RVA Ghosts. It's some blogger.
Richmond, Virginia, maybe.
Yes. He never lived in this house that became a museum to him, but it was close to where he lived in Richmond. And it was close to his work and close to his buried mother, Elizabeth Poe. So the house holds many first editions of his works and other memorabilia. Or it houses many of those. Besides the books, 3 spirits haunt the museum and show up in tourists' photos.
Okay.
So we don't need those. We don't need that. So the house's history. Called the Old Stone House, built in 1740, it sits in Richmond's Shockoe Bottom District. I don't know. German immigrant Jacob Eeg built the house for his wife. Though Poe never lived there, he did have an encounter with it. In 1824, the Marquis de Lafayette visited Richmond and was accompanied by a junior corps of riflemen to the Eeg house. One of the riflemen was a 15-year-old Poe. Oh. The Eeg family kept the house until 1911 when it was purchased by Preservation Virginia, then known as the Association for... No one cares. So they opened a shrine to him, blah, 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 blah. Oh. Okay, paranormal. There seems to be 3 spirits that have staked a claim on the museum. 2 are a pair of children with blonde hair and are believed to have been from the Eeg family. These spirits do not seem to act like poltergeists, but they do like to show up in the backgrounds of photos that tourists take in the museum. So that'd be creepy. Like, where these 2 blonde kids come from?
I don't like that.
The 3rd spirit is a black shadow that wanders the halls of the museum. Though its identity is not entirely proven, it is suspected to be Edgar Allan Poe's ghost. Is he attached to some of the items from his life house there?
Maybe.
He seems particularly connected to a hand mirror that belonged to his beloved wife, Virginia. So that was his cousin he married. And a walking stick that he left in Richmond a couple weeks before he died. The Black Shadow Man will also show up in photographs and videos, but he prefers to interact with items around the house. It's been seen walking around the courtyard behind the house. The museum's most infamous story had to do with an unopened box of little Edgar Allan Poe bobbleheads. Yeah, I'll take 3. Thank you. When the museum opened the next day, all the small figures had been placed on a gift shop shelf.
Because Edgar's like, what the F are these?
He's like, these are coming out of this box.
This is embarrassing and
why
rude.
Is my head bobbling?
Right.
Can
you imagine?
Stupid thing said he did live there. I don't know. Let me see. Strange phenomena. Some of the exhibits at the museum include a lock of his hair.
Oh, well, those are easy to come by, apparently.
So he just had all that. He probably shed like me. I'm like, how do I have any hair left in my head? I cleaned out my hairbrush the other day. I was horrified. Some china that once belonged to his guardian, John Allen. Okay. A reproduction of the portrait Poe painted of Virginia after she died.
Oh.
Well, I think that just means like after.
Oh,
not like no, you can't take her. I have to paint.
I thought the portrait was of her dead.
I did too. Until I'm like, oh wait, I don't think
that'd be really sad.
So strange phenomena people have reported at the site include the sensation of someone tapping them on the shoulders, mysterious muttering voices, lights moving around in the house when no one was in it, inexplicable cold spots, windows flying open or slamming shut, and at least in one case, a window falling out of its frame and smashing to the floor.
What?
People have also claimed to see the ghost of Poe, not just like a shadow, but the actual
full body apparition.
And perhaps part of his spirit does remain there or visits periodically during its rounds to the many sites where people have seen him.
Okay.
What even more people have claimed to see, or otherwise sense, however, is a specter that many have described as a heavy-set middle-aged woman. Who she might be, however, and whether or not she had any connection to Poe remains unclear.
And please don't call me heavyset when I'm dead and a ghost.
Yeah, or middle-aged. I don't have an age. I'm dead.
I don't have a body.
Age and weight. They don't matter. That is the reason I look forward to the afterlife.
I know.
So shut it.
So rude. Middle-aged, heavy-set, with ugly hair. It's like, just leave us alone.
Okay, sorry. Do you want me to stop?
You're fine. You're good.
So he was buried in the old Western burial grounds.
That's hilarious.
Ha!
The old Western.
Let's have a duel.
Even though they're in the East, not the West.
When a grave sign was finally placed, it had a carved raven upon it.
Well, finally.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay, so here's that part I was talking about earlier. Later, the Westminster Presbyterian Church was built over part of the cemetery, so some of the graves are now only accessible via the catacombs under the church. These catacombs are very haunted. Several people committed suicide in them between 1890 and 1920. Sorry, completed suicide. I didn't go through and edit this at all.
That's okay.
Even though Poe's grave was moved to an area above ground, several witnesses have seen his ghost in these catacombs. His ghost has also been seen in the hallways of the hospital where he died. He's been spotted on the street near the house in Baltimore where he once lived. The house is haunted, but by most accounts, not by Poe, but by his grandmother.
Weird.
Yeah, they just,
They're on a family reunion.
In Fells Point, there's a bar by the name of The Horse You Came In On. Screw you and the horse you came in on. I thought it was a horse you rode in on.
It's like such
figurative language.
It's a really long name for a bar.
And it was supposedly one of Poe's favorite places to drink.
Nice.
Hey, Poe, where are you going tonight? The horse you came in on. Meet me there. And then by the time you leave, it's like, you can't even talk. So Poe's ghost is considered a troublemaker here.
Oh.
The chandelier swings by itself. So he's just like, woo! Swing. I want to swing from your chandelier.
He just rips off those secondhand clothes and goes wild. Poe gone wild.
Magic Poe XL.
God.
And the owner and employees alike have seen the cash register open and close without cause.
He's just taking money and these are my tips from dancing.
Just the tips. Many waitresses claim that if a patron denies the presence of Poe's ghost, their bar stool is pulled out from under them and beer bottles dropped to the floor.
Oh, gosh.
Regulars at The Horse.
Short nickname.
Yes, which is the oldest continuously running bar in North America, verify these stories.
Crazy, though. I'm really impressed by that.
Fort Monroe is one place that has eyewitness accounts. Once Poe's guardian disowned him, he could not afford to stay at the University of Virginia. So he joined the Army instead. So his ghost is said to haunt Fort Monroe, where he was stationed during this time. Okay. And he was not happy while he was in the Army, but he did write a collection of verse entitled Al-Araf in 1829. At Monroe, his ghost has been seen writing while sitting at a desk.
Oh, I thought you said writing.
I thought you said writing. Writing.
He's riding a horse on it with a desk.
He brought the whole bar with him.
Well, at least he's doing what he loves.
Yes. So that was the life and death of Edgar Allan Poe and a little bit of paranormal sprinkled in.
Is your next one for next episode long or short?
No, Poe was my, what I think is my long one.
Okay.
Sweet Jesus, we're 53 minutes in. I hope that
I just wanted to
one.
make sure so I knew what to do. Okay. Sorry, I have things on my phone and on here because that's just how we do this. Okay, so my story today was recommended by a fan of the podcast. That's embarrassing to even say. My friend Anna. Thank you, Anna. She comments and tags us and stuff, and it's so nice. So thanks, Anna. You've probably never heard of this, but I'm going to go into two things with this.
Okay.
The entombing of Julia Ledar.
I don't think I have.
Well, let me tell you.
You could actually hear the wheels spinning in my head.
Well, and your eyes were like, huh?
I'm like, well, I thought you were going to say Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I'm like, what? Is she dead? I was like, how did I miss
I love her so much. She is
her dancing.
Oh my God,
is one of the greatest scenes.
We have GIF we use Microsoft Teams at work, and I send that GIF to so many people, like an inappropriate amount. And I have a pin in my Amazon wish list that's her dancing. It's so great.
But she's still with us. She's still in the world of the living. She's not entombed.
She's like a billionaire or something.
Well, she should be
before being famous.
Oh.
Her family's just rich. She's worth more than Jerry Seinfeld.
When you have two last names, you usually
she is an America's sweetheart.
She is.
Okay. Getting back to my story.
Okay.
My sources today are Astonishing Legends, All That's Interesting, and Ranker. Obviously.
Yeah.
No Wikipedia, because I don't even know there's a Wikipedia for this page. Our story takes us to Edisto Island, South Carolina. I don't know if I'm saying that right. An island with a long history of inhabitation.
Inhabitants?
I wrote in
cohabitation
of inhabitants.
It's a common law marriage now, y'all.
And with a long history of inhabitants. What am I trying to say?
People who live there would be inhabitants.
Thank you. Starting with...
I don't know.
No, you're right. Starting with the indigenous people and then plantation owners in the 1700s. Obviously, that's the story of America. We suck. Okay. So Julia, at this point, she was an early teenager. She was visiting the island with her family when she got sick. She got diphtheria. Do we get a vaccine for that? I feel like we do.
The DTaP, right?
Yeah.
I think that's
vaccines saving lives. Look at that. It's shocking. Okay. And she fell into a coma. So sad. She's like 13. Okay. Her health was declining rapidly. And of course, her family was very concerned.
Of course.
Days passed and she was not coming out of her coma, which is pretty much like a coma. Right? Like, if you're in a coma, usually it lasts more than a day. Or that's just like passed out.
Yeah, you just lost consciousness. Really.
Yeah, at what point?
A nap.
At what point does it cross over into, no, it's a coma?
It's a coma. I don't know. Good question.
Don't know. A family...
Because they may be concerned at my house, like, it's 6 p.m., mom's in her coma. But don't worry, at 2 a.m. when the demon/water softener tries to tear the house down, she will snap out of it.
Time out. So now on Facebook, all of our podcast episodes are on Facebook. And so you can actually listen to it on Facebook. You can also share a 30-second clip on your Facebook profile, and it took everything I had to not share the clip from Whitney's Vanishing Tramp Stamp of you talking about being Grandpa Joe, because it's still the funniest thing of all time. Amy in a coma. Anyway, I don't want you to ever be in a coma, but you being in a coma.
I feel like I'd be cool with it.
You don't have Netflix
but
in a coma.
But I want to be in that coma. I don't want to be where you could like hear.
Oh, no. Vegetative state. No.
If I have to just listen to people drone on and I don't have the ability to say,
shut up.
It's time for me to go now.
Shut it.
No, God, that's
like our worst
horrible.
nightmare.
Pull the plug.
Yeah, for sure.
For real.
So she's in this coma. She's declining, and a family physician declares her dead, which is really sad. So her family's obviously heartbroken. They're just like distraught because she's 13, and they bury Julia in this beautiful crypt, and they all kind of like move forward as best they can. Until one day, 15 years later, her brother dies. It's the 1700s, people. Everyone dies early deaths. It's
Life
horrifying.
was so tragic.
It really was. So her family, they have his funeral, and they go to open up the crypt to bury the brother. And they find your worst nightmare.
Oh, no.
Julia's skeleton pressed closely against the crypt door where there were scratch marks all over the floor and walls.
Oh, that is, too.
So,
worst fear.
We're going to talk about being buried alive.
God.
But before we go there, after Julia's skeleton was found and kind of like disrupt, there's been a lot of strange hauntings that have plagued the area. A lot of times after they buried the brother and they had opened it up, the mausoleum door was continuously found open, as if she was like, open this freaking door.
And they still put the brother in there? Maybe they should have been like,
should we double check? Should we double check on him? So the door was just like the crypt keepers. I don't know. I don't know.
Tales from the crypt.
That guy is so funny.
What's up with his hair? Like, for real.
I feel like he's always wearing like one of those hats people wear when they play poker with like a green bill. Is he? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Where it's like translucent. Yeah. Why do I feel like he's wearing that?
I feel like he's not.
I feel like I've seen something where
he's confusing it with something else.
Oh, that lady I saw at the casino who's the crypt keeper.
With her fanny pack.
I swear to God, I've seen a picture of the crypt keeper.
I mean, he did like little bits, so there may have been like an episode where he had one on, but that wasn't like part of his. I mean, that was kind of the whole gist of it. It was like. I mean, the
was it meant to be funny?
The stories were meant to be kind of scary, but he was like the comedy relief of it all. He was the host. He wasn't even a person.
I know. Is he a puppet?
I don't know what he is.
I don't, do you know? Anyone? I'm getting so hot. And now I'm having a hot flash. We have to open the window.
We know we can turn the fan on low. It's fine.
But I mean, if you're a crypt keeper, you take care of crypts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the crypt keepers. Not that little guy. They were probably normal sized.
Maybe. But they did wear the visors.
They did wear their
standard uniform
visors. I'm gonna find a picture of that. But the door would like always be open. Like they'd go and they'd shut it, but then the next day it'd be open again. So finally they just removed the door. They're like, F it, we're taking the door off. But it's
tired of this.
It's kind of sad. It's like she was like, leave the door open. I'm for the love of God. I was buried alive in here.
I don't like confined spaces.
I feel like a lot of times though crypts have windows. You know what I mean? Not always, clearly, or she would have busted out. But
some do, but not.
Yeah.
Some are just concrete all the way around.
Horrifying. So people hear her screams a lot of times now, which is really terrible. So now I'm going to break your heart. That is a legend, and there are disputes as to whether that story actually happened or not. I choose to believe it did, because I like creepy.
People used to be buried alive all the time.
And I'm going to tell you about some in a minute. So obviously, prior to modern medicine, it was sometimes difficult to determine if people were actually dead or in a coma, which led to many stories of people being buried alive, which is horrifying. Beginning in the 18th century, corpses were tested to see if they were actually dead. Are you ready to hear how? Ranging from the benign nipple pinch.
Well, I'd be scared.
I mean, what? If you're in a coma and someone pinches your nipple, you're not going to wake up. No. To the
Especially if you're a breast cancer survivor, you have if your nipples are spared, you have no feeling in your breasts ever again. So if you're please, Whitney, if I die,
I will
do not let
the crap out of your nipples.
No, please don't pinch like my butt or my feet. But
still,
or something.
If you're in a coma, no, that's not going to wake you
they
up.
like poke people with pins in a coma at the bottom of their feet.
So the benign nipple pinching to the worse. Hot pokers up your butthole. What? That would kill you, wouldn't it?
I would make you want to be dead.
I think that would literally kill you. It would like rupture your intestines.
And you don't know if someone's in a coma if they can't. You don't know they can't feel pain,
right?
God, like as if being in a coma wasn't bad enough.
But
here's the thing: just go ahead and do take their organs and stuff out.
Yeah, they just didn't do that then. 1700s, what a time to be alive, clearly. So what's really funny is that everyone made fun of French doctor Eugene Bouchut when he suggested using a stethoscope to detect a heartbeat.
Oh, hey, what a novel idea.
What an idiot. They're all just like, what? Look at this guy. Oh, a stethoscope? Like, that's real.
Rob, get the hot poker.
We're going to
break my visor.
We're going to insert it up this butthole. Okay. Now, I'm not going to read all of these because there are a couple of these buried alive stories that are, like, too far.
Okay.
Like, children, serial killers. I'm not going into that. Just too much. So
we have boundaries.
We do have boundaries.
And now you know what they are, because up to this point you probably
yes.
questioned if we have.
I have not read any of these except I briefly skimmed through them. Okay. The story of Angelo Hayes. In 1937, a 19-year-old man from France named Angelo Hayes went for a motorcycle ride. Perhaps he had minimal knowledge of how to operate such a vehicle because he ended up crashing it. That's rude, first of all.
That is real rude.
Maybe something ran out in front of him, possum or something.
You can have. It's why it's called an accident.
Right. And slammed his head into a brick wall, which is, oh my God. When help arrived, they found Hayes' head was mangled and he had no pulse. He was so terrible to look at. Who wrote this? That his parents were kept from seeing him for their own good. That's so sad. He was declared dead and buried 3 days later. Due to an investigation by an insurance company, God dang it, insurance. They're like
an insurance.
They exhumed his body. That is terrible.
Like, were they...
I don't know.
Were they questioning like the circumstances of his death?
Maybe like they didn't want to pay out. What year was this?
He's 1937.
Dead. Right.
Like, you have to pay out. His head is mangled. He did not do that to himself.
Right. Well, was he dead though? So his body was exhumed 2 days after the funeral. It was quite the surprise to everyone that his body was still warm. Apparently, in the aftermath of the accident, his body put itself into a deep coma and required very little oxygen. After being buried alive, he received proper medical care and went on to make a full recovery.
What? With a mangled head?
Well, I mean, I guess he could fix it. What a like dinner party story.
Yeah. This is
my coffin. I keep it here at my foyer just as a talking piece.
I have the ability to slow my breathing down enough that people think I'm dead.
Oh my God. He then invented a type of security coffin that he toured around France. It was reported to contain a small oven, a refrigerator, and a hi-fi cassette player. Wait, what? Would you die of carbon monoxide poisoning?
That just sounds like the tombs of like the pharaohs and stuff too. If I want the things that are going to follow me into the afterlife, yes. I want a refrigerator. I'll take a microwave. That's fine.
What the heck is a hi-fi cassette? I don't even know what that means. But do you have...
Are you serious right now?
Is that just a regular cassette player?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I know what that is. I don't know what a hi-fi... I don't know what that is.
High fidelity. Just like it's got good sound.
Oh, okay. Yes, I had a cassette player as a child. A Walkman, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. I thought you were questioning one of the cassette players. No. I'd be like, listen, no. I'm done.
Born in the 80s, so at least But, like, do you have food for these things?
Yeah, what...
You have those, but no food in your coffin.
Anything that needs to be refrigerated is like, couldn't you
just
take non-perishable food items?
Well, this is the 30s. Like, I'm so confused. Maybe it's like dry ice. I'm just confused at like how it's keeping anything.
Just like, I can't see anything. There's dry. It's like so foggy in here. But like, where are my potato chips? Damn it!
I'm sorry though, but if you have an oven and you turn it on, you're gonna die. You're in an enclosed space. Yeah, how big is this coffin? What? I mean, like, did we not have the bell situation we all know about where you pulled the string?
The bell seems way more logical.
Just freaking pull that bell. Pull that string.
How long are you planning on staying there?
Like, please marry me with this bagel bites.
3 Totino's party pizzas, so someone's gonna have to find me.
What if you have to poop? Great. There's so many questions about the security.
The dry ice.
Security coffin. All right.
It's just HelloFresh being dropped off.
Right. Coming down a
dumbwaiter. Look at that. Look at us.
Oh my God, we're hilarious.
TM
Did you just rub my leg?
Why are our legs so close together?
This is a tiny table. We are long.
Well, usually our feet touch, but not
we have beautiful long legs. Moving on to Octavia Smith Hatcher. In 1889, Octavia Smith married a wealthy Kentuckian named James Hatcher. The newlyweds had a son whom they named Jacob. Unfortunately, he died in infancy, which is horrifying. Octavia...
Spencer.
I thought I said Activia.
back to the
Which is what the yogurt my granny prefers. She puts it on her grocery list every week. Peach. Anyway, they put her into very deep depression, obviously. And during this time, she began showing signs of a mysterious illness. Eventually, her body entered a coma-like state, and nobody could wake her up. She was pronounced dead in May of 1981, just 4 months after her baby died. Oh. I mean, kill me too, honestly. It was an unusually hot May that year, and so Octavia was buried quickly because they didn't embalm. But a few days later, others in the town began falling into similar coma-like sleeps with shallow breathing patterns, only to awaken a few days later. They discovered it was an illness caused by the bite of the testes fly.
What? Who named that?
It's TSETSC. I'm saying testes because it's funny. I just imagine a little fly shaped like testes.
Fruit flies. You got the fruit flies on your...
Oh my God. Oh, fearing that she had been buried alive, her husband panicked and had her exhumed, but it was too late. And so, yeah, she tried to claw her way out. Oh God. So he went on to develop a severe phobia of being buried alive. Yeah, it makes sense.
See, cremation takes care of all of that.
Yep, I prefer to be cremated. And then, like, bury me with, like, a tree or something, you know?
Yeah.
Something cool like that. One night in 1987, the year Moan was born, a 39-year-old Illinois businessman named Stephen Small received a phone call that one of his renovation projects was being broken into. He didn't realize that by going to the property, he was being lured into his own abduction. His wife, Nancy Smalls, received a call at 3:30 a.m. informing her that the ransom on her husband was $1 million. Okay. The family received 5 calls in total and were willing to comply with demands, only they couldn't understand them because of the poor sound quality. Where Stephen was during this time was in a homemade wood box about 3 feet underground. For a second I thought he put himself there.
That's impressive.
That's why I thought there was poor phone quality, because he's like underground. $1 million, Nancy! Can you withdraw that to tens?
I'm sorry, you're cutting out. What?
His abductors provided him with a flimsy breathing tube and some water, suggesting they intended to let him live if they got payment. But something happened that they maybe didn't plan on. His breathing tube failed. So he died. Horrifying. There's one about a child and a serial killer. That's like, those people have a special place in hell.
Yeah, we're not going to give them any of our attention.
Nope. Anna Hawkwalt. Most of what can be gleaned from this unfortunate case is from a newspaper article dating back to 1884. Basically don't go to Kentucky.
Yeah, just steer clear.
Kentucky's Hickman Courier, it's the name of a newspaper, reported that a young lady by the name of Anna Hawkwalt was dressing for her brother's wedding and sat down to rest in the kitchen. Sounds like me.
Yeah. Okay, I got my pants on, now I gotta take a breather.
I'm so hot. Why? I hate getting ready. It is like the thing I hate most in life. Like, I get out of the shower and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, especially on days I wash my hair.
Yes.
I'm like, oh God, now I've got to blow dry.
No, it's like the worst thing. I used to enjoy it as like a teenager. Not anymore. Okay. And she sat down to take a rest in the kitchen. When someone checked in on her a few minutes later, she was still there, but her head was leaning against the wall and was apparently lifeless. She's just resting. Medical aid arrived, and the doctor assumed she was dead, that when he couldn't revive her. Please don't assume anything about death.
And you're a doctor. Should you be making any kind of assumptions?
Please check the heart. Anna's generally nervous nature and the fact that she suffered from heart palpitations, she's you.
She is me.
She is you. Was the flimsy cause of death. That she was nervous?
Oh, great.
Her generally nervous nature and her heart palpitations was her cause of death. No. Nope. However, this assumption didn't sit well with some of Anna's friends who thought her ears still looked pink as if blood were flowing through them. Anna was buried the next day, and her friends told her parents of their earlier observation. Of course, this perplexed her parents to the point of having her dug up. But again, worst case scenario. Anna's body was turned onto its side, fingers gnawed to the bone, and hair torn out by the handful. Ugh. Try sleeping tonight, people. Okay, one more. A man crawled out of his own grave. maybe this is a success story.
Yeah, right.
Let's go for it.
Let's end it on a high note.
On a high note, a woman visiting a family tomb in Ferraz de Vasconcelos, Brazil, in 2013 witnessed a body emerging from a grave waving its arms.
Would you not die?
Waving its arms. Over here! It's me! No chill.
See me? See me?
I'm alive. Oh my God. It's just like straight up zombie movie. Yeah, I mean, I would die of nervousness and heart palpitations.
Yes. That would be
legit.
An accurate cause of death in
After
that situation.
For sure. After finally convincing the authorities to come to the cemetery. No, for real. He came out of the ground. They're like, ma'am, you're
I'm not
hysterical.
making this up.
No.
I just wanted a nice vacation, and now I'm dealing with this. Did they, like, offer to help him, or they're like, stay where you are. We're calling someone.
Stay back. Stay back. Okay, so after finally convincing the authorities, the police rescued the man. They believed he was a former city hall worker who had been involved in a fight in another part of the city. Presumably, he passed out from his injuries and was taken to the graveyard? What? And it just ends there? Well,
first of all, were they having knife fights at the city hall? First of all, what's going on there? And then it's like, well, he's done. Let's just pack him to the cemetery and bury him?
I don't understand that at all.
Unless maybe they were trying to cover up a murder. And then just go bury him.
Okay, the rest of these are just really super sad. So, here's one more. Let's do one more of a survival. Okay. In 1993, a 24, because that one like ended with nothing. I don't understand how he got into a grave. They took him to the cemetery and then what? Okay. In 1993, a 24-year-old South African man named Sipho William Modesti and his fiancée were involved in a severe car accident. Although Sipho's fiancée survived, Sipho was so badly injured that he was declared dead by responders following the accident. Afterward, he was placed in a metal box for burial in the Johannesburg mortuary. For 2 days and nights, he remained in the box until he awoke in a confused daze and began to scream for help. Oh my God. Was it like a cooler, like a freezer?
Like you don't even know.
It's just black.
Where you are.
It's black. You can't raise your arms.
Yeah.
And is it like a freezer or cooler, you know? It would have to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
Because the human body actually decomposes
quickly.
Very rapidly if it is not stored properly.
But luckily, some people and the workers of the morgue heard him and let him out, and he survived.
Hey.
Again, another party story.
Can you imagine working at the morgue that night? I was here.
Again,
I'd be like,
nightmare fuel.
Nope, not for $15 an hour.
Bye. Working nightmare. Oh my gosh. All right, everyone. Well, that's us for tonight. Please rate, review, and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Share us on social medias.
Yeah. Check out all of our cool stuff Whitney puts on our social medias, like tabs and stories and whatnot.
We have link trees, links, so you can go to that to find out like where to find the podcast, although you're listening to it, so you've found it, and like our merch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
come on.
Great.
We support other podcasters by buying their merch.
We definitely do. Shoot us an email on thehaunt@gmail.com if you have a cool story. I think maybe soon if we get some emails, we can do like a personal story time.
Ooh, I would love that.
Where we hear like our stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys.